Hello and welcome to the Cardiac Cats YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jacob Shorba, and today we're here to preview the third day of free agency, mainly talking about Calvin Ridley and what will be one of the most pivotal choices in the Jaguars franchise in probably the last decade. It's really coming down to the wire here. What we know right now, we cannot get a decision on him returning to the Jaguars until 4:01 Eastern today. Today is the day the new league year begins. He has to wait until then to come back to Jacksonville. Otherwise, they'll give up a second round pick. So that's the situation. And the fact that he has not signed points things towards the idea. I can't say the fact yet. I hope it's the fact, but the idea that he wants to come back to Jacksonville and will be coming back to Jacksonville. And so essentially, what we know right now is that it's down to two teams. One is the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have been stated as the team that he wants to be with the most. This is where he prefers to be. The other team is the New England Patriots. And the Patriots, the situation is a lot worse in New England. They have Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. Their only legitimate receiver is Kendrick Bourne. And the offensive line's, good in some places, bad in some places. And it's probably going to have to be a place that rebuilds for a couple of years, realistically. You never know, but it's kind of where they sit right now. But the difference that we're probably about 99.9% sure of is that New England has submitted a larger offer than the Jaguars. And so, how many times in Jaguars history have we had a great player who has been willing to come back or come to this team in the first place on a deal that's less than what our teams are offering? There's not a lot of players you can mention that, right? And I think that says a lot about how important it is for this franchise to get this deal done. I know we've talked about T. Higgins. I know we've talked about drafting receivers. I know I've talked about how I would consider moving on from Calvin Ridley. A lot of that is cap concern reasons. It's about what the money was going to be. But when we learn that he wants to be here and he's willing to take less money to be here, that changes those conversations. And that's why, for me, I feel very differently about it, getting into free agency and knowing more about what Calvin Ridley is really looking for. And so it's going to be a pivotal day. We got to see what happens. But, there's a lot of good news coming out. If you want Calvin Ridley to come back, everything is pointing to it. We even got a report yesterday that the Patriots put out an offer to Calvin Ridley, and we're basically getting left on red, or at least there was not good communication there. So you got to hope. You got to hope it turns out this way. We're hearing some conflicting rumors as far as numbers. It sounds like it's going to fall probably right around $20 million a year, which is a very good deal. That's a steal, in my opinion, because I think that Ridley can be a receiver that goes out and gets 1,200 yards this next year, probably even more possibly, depending on how good the offense is. Do players stay healthy? Are they functioning? Is there better coaching? All these questions, right? But compare that to Christian Kirk, who we feel really good about. He's getting paid about 18.5 with the incentives he's earned so far. And he is an 1,100 yard receiver, roughly. That's about where he averages each year when he's playing. So I think it's a great deal. If they get him at $20 million, anywhere around there, that's fantastic for the Jaguars. We're just going to have to see what happens. But if we get news earlier in the day or confirmation that he should be coming back, I will let you guys know. But I will tell you this. It looks like Calvin Ridley is going to be a Jaguar for a while. And if that happens, we're going to be really excited here. It's going to give us a better vision on what's going to happen in the draft, the focuses. This is an incredibly pivotal decision, because if he walks, say New England sends in a huge offer that Jacksonville can't get close to, you got to draft receiver. Or are you going to keep Zay Jones? It's a different offense, different team. You got different things you got to do in the draft. It changes things. And of course, you got the salary cap argument, but there's a lot of money, man. Like there's $100 million right now available in cap space next year. And you got a lot of free agents, but these contracts get backloaded. You got to keep that in mind. So I think it's absolutely doable, and the ball's in their court. So we'll see what happens. From the time I'm recording this, we've got 9 hours left, so we're getting close. But that's all I've got for you guys. I'll have videos on AR News, but I will tell you things are probably going to calm down aside from this. I might see like Eric Armstead come to Jacksonville, a player like that, defensive lineman. If Calvin Ridley returns, it kind of emboldens them because the compensatory pick situation doesn't really matter as much. So we'll see what happens. But that's all I've got. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk later once we have the final news on this. So see you later, and finally, go Jags.